Mr. Roberto Carotenuto. Did I say that correctly?
Oh, very well done.
Excellent. Now, you're with ASIS Online. You're a part of a committee, which we're going to get into in a second. But you have a really cool background. Tell us about your background.
Well, I joined the Metropolitan Museum of Art back in 1994 after teaching high school for 5 years at Zavarian High School.
What was your expertise as a high school teacher?
English literature.
Oh, wow. All right.
So didn't really love grading papers so much. And the Met had a great ad in the paper, said, hey, former teachers, graduate students, 3 weeks off, become a security officer at the Met. Loved going there as a college student at NYU. Figured this is a great job. 17 years later, I was the associate security manager. Now I'm the AVP of security at the New York Botanical Garden.
That is a great story. One you don't usually hear about.
That's right.
Because it's a somewhat transitory business. I mean, people come and go. They change guard companies. It moves around a lot. I always love to hear a story like that. Now, I'm just going to guess, just a wild guess here on SecurityGuideTV.com, that your committee chair might have something to do with art and security. Am I correct?
That's exactly right. That's one of our major points that we think about is museum security as Cultural Properties Council. And we're always very concerned about having standards and guidelines that are going to make sure that the artwork stays in the museums.
Now, what's interesting about museum security, and I know just a little bit about it by reading up on it. I had a friend of mine that did some work at one of the museums. You really seldom hear of something getting stolen out of a museum, right?
That is very rare.
Not like the movies with all this special
the
Mission Impossible stuff.
Yeah, the Mission Impossible, the Doctor No, that doesn't exist. The thieves, they're ordinary criminals. What we're finding is they're just ordinary people.
Interesting. Now, here's what I don't get. Why does the museum industry do so? Well, I do get it because there's experts like you there. But what I find interesting is that why aren't we applying museum standards to most places? I would say maybe it's more, maybe it's not as conducive to a business community where you can come and go freely and, business has to keep moving in workflow, right? But the best practices of the museum, if your goal is to prevent theft in your company, can't the business just adopt best practices for a museum to a great degree and be more successful?
I think so. And what I really have to say is that museum security is basic security, physical security. It's no different than what you would implement to protect any high-value item, any high-value asset. Difference is, in museums, we invite people in instead of holding people at the door.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So what I'm hearing is that maybe this is just a cultural perception. You guys take it serious because, we don't want the Mona Lisa to walk out of here. That's serious. If you're stealing my headphones off the aisle at the Save On drugstore, I'm not so diligent about that maybe.
I think that's exactly right. Is what we're dealing with is priceless works of art, one of a kind, something that's really going to make the news, while theft of a bank maybe a little more common occurrence, a little easier to do, and frankly, no museum wants their Van Gogh or their Mona Lisa showing up on the front page of the New York Times.
Now, we're talking before the show about, what is art? And that, some people might think SecurityGuideTV.com is art. I hope so. But in general, art can be transitory. It can be, this is valuable, now it's not valuable. Collectibles can be considered art to some people, right? So you told me an interesting story about a painting that was 400 years old and had vanished for 400 years, and it popped up and found it, and they were able to recover it. So the laws are different for bona fide pieces of art. There are international laws that apply. And speak to that briefly.
Surely. Here in the United States, we have laws enforced by the FBI about artwork and any kind of damage, any kind of vandalism, any kind of theft of what they would consider a piece of art. That means that it's got provenance, that it's been respected in the museum community, in the art world, as a piece of art. So time has something to do with it, but not necessarily, because there's contemporary works of art.
Andy Warhol, contemporary, yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
What we consider is like Weiwei, the Chinese artist. Contemporary, he's still creating artwork, but the fact is that there's a cultural value to it.
Right.
And that's what we see as important and that's why we're the Cultural Properties Council.
Now, is your desk busy over here at the AS Hub? Are people coming up to you and saying, I'm in the museum business? What, not percentage isn't a good way to say it, but what part of the overall security community do museums play a role in? I mean, there's museums everywhere you go.
That's right. There are thousands of museums.
Of them, right.
Just here in the United States. There are thousands of official museums and what we might consider unofficial museums, archaeological sites that are living outdoor historical places of cultural significance.
Oh, like the La Brea Tar Pits in Los Angeles.
That is exactly right.
Very interesting. So the half alligator, half baby thing I saw up in Oregon, that was not probably part of that museum.
No.
All right. Well, maybe someday it might be, but it's collectible.
That's right.
Robert Carotenuto, thanks for coming on SecurityGuideTV.com.
Pleasure.
What a charming man you are.
Thank you
And you
very
look like you
much.
really like your job.
I do.
Fantastic. Back in a minute here on SecurityGuideTV.com.